But the games do get real intense when some of these top teams go down because it just provides the opportunity for the teams lower down to step in and join that race. And as much as I like 2-horse races, I'm also a fan of 6-horse races, and 8-horse races, and 10 all the horses getting involved. And I'm a fan, so we'll see if that trend continues. I'm sure for Aqua, Vino, Taste and Chapix, that won't be what they want. They'll want to stay in the game and stay in it as long as humanly possible.
We'll tune into Command Stable now, we can rename it, for all the big horses. It's anything but stable in there every single game. Andy, Joe, Kidwo, Flixie, look at the care now that Andy has. Joe rat-a-tatted as he drops off spawn. These guys want to just survive a little bit. Look at the two different stakes, 40th versus 6th overall.
Well, look, we talk about things being stable. This fight has been very stable for them. Outside of that first game in day one, they have just been on an absolute tear here. It's not been much of a problem whatsoever.
I think that absolute might be a word too big for this type of tear because it takes a lot of time for them to actually get rid of this fight sometimes. It's not going to be completely free every single time. Timing is a big thing for Zandy. Timing and landing is a big thing for Mustache and Malabuka. I'm getting anxiety seeing exactly who's going to win off of spawn right here. Pink down, Anas next. Malabuka time, it's going to be free for them off spawn.
Malabuka time, I like that. I'm down for all the Malabuka time. He can have all my time if he'd like. 2 huge eliminations off spawn. Pink and Anas were the ones to take down Vino and Aqua. And so those two will be happy to see them go down. But for Malabuka and Mustache, 2 eliminations off spawn, that will be the catalyst to seeing them potentially go all the way through deep into this game. And hopefully a pop-off for them, not too far away. Falling out of that race, but still never too far, especially with a format that points towards elimination. Speaking of eliminations, Cammy and Seti, who are on our screen, not usually associated with getting many eliminations. They're not falling too far behind the top 2 teams.
Seti and Cammy.
Hey.
Seti and Cammy. I'm excited. Yeah, you mentioned that. You bring it up. We'll get back to it in just a second. I want to mention Asvi and Refsguard. What's happening on screen here is getting actually close and personal. This is the change overall when it comes to just, you know, impatience, stakes just rising all the way towards the end of the day. 3 more games kind of left to play, 10, 11, and 12. Connor Refsguard like to keep it very distant. This time, it'll be close and personal for Orcadia versus the Falcon Bifrost duo. They'll be pushing in a 1v1 on both sides. Should end very, very soon. Clown knows it's a 1v1. He should know the damage he's put down as well. Nothing really rocking, so they'll disengage for now. You mentioned Seti and Cammy specifically, Levin. I don't know where they've come from. It's just the consistency. I knew in the past when we were doing predictions, I knew in the past when we were, you know, talking shop with each other, I expected this to happen, yet I'm still surprised that they're just 16 points away from first.
I've never seen this guy so excited, by the way. This guy is so excited to see his team doing well, and I feel for you. I'm backing you here. If Malabuka and Mustache can't be the ones to win, I'm backing you.
This is why, though, right? Because you and Reese got to go to media day. You and Reese go to lunch together every day. You and Reese sleep in the same bed, right?
Sometimes.
I can be with you and Reese now, and Minnie as well. He's there on the Tayson train.
Of course, understandable.
I just want to be.
You just want to be a part of the crew.
Yeah.
I don't blame you, buddy. I don't blame you. Look, it's a fun crew to be a part of.
Zeke's almost there too. Hen and Queasy, they're somewhere. They're catching up. Mappy Flois, Coney Crossroads, talking about timing and stakes kind of clashing. Just saw it with the Arcadia duo versus Refsguard and Clown. Things tend to snap fast. This entire process, the 12 games, like a rubber band, they stretch real far. Stretch too far though, get too tense, and things just break. Snap back on both sides. There's casualties all around. It stings, it hurts, and that snapback hasn't happened at Coney Crossroads. It hasn't really just broken. Over here at the Joneses, same kind of situation. It's patience. I don't think, Levin, this lasts for the next 2 games.
Yeah, if you allow things to stretch too far, it stops you from really being able to command the area, and that's where things always get edgy for these teams. Booback, we've seen him in this fight so many times, and I've seen him on the winning side a lot of the time. But like we said in previous games, nothing is a guarantee. They almost taken out the NPC there, I think. For a moment, they got panicked.
Dialed in.
Yeah, they were way too dialed in there.
You ever calm damage on the NPC? It's I hit him for 100, 200, 300. How am I hitting for 300?
I'm sure they calmed it. I am sure they calmed it. 100, 200.
Oh man, Blueback also stole damage from a third party. This is where things might start to change as well. We saw after like the third game of the day, people starting to do different things. The Jones is getting invaded from one of the sides. Blueback and Fury now on a different timer, on a different type of pressure. They were the ones in a very good pinch. Now, due to Rabbit and Fenyayan, they're in the middle of a sandwich.
Save it. Yapko. Will this be the time for redemption?
I mean, it might be, but they're stuck. 89 points. They're kind of in a very similar position of Hen and Queasy in terms of where they are in the game right now, but nothing going on for them yet. They're not that close to getting all the way towards the top spot, and that VR have to make it off of spawn. Fury finally going down. Save it. It's gonna be
Max
just
3 trying to get in. Look at the boys, they're rolling through. We all know this feeling when a team just won't give you that space, that time. Favorite just running through all these old builds, trying to edit his way around, but when these two are on your wall, it's not easy.
It's not even done yet. This is a party at the Joneses. Every single Jonesy is here. Darkus and Zara in the business. They've left the islands. Fenyayan's still just, I think they're watching. They bought front row tickets. They're not participating. They're just cheering from the sidelines.
The big thing is though, right? A lot of these teams are teams who have been struggling. A lot of them have been struggling with Surge. If you see the names in the feed, if you know these teams are fighting, you see it from a distance, you realize, look, let's third party, let's get involved. That's why we're seeing it look like a creative map right now, creative PvP fight going on. You don't want to be taking out the AI, that's not your main opponent, but sometimes you do have to sort them out, sit them down. The NPCs can get a bit leery, a bit too big for their boots, but Zara and Darkus, like you said, very much a team that wanted to try and capitalize on the fight, realizing though that things have slowed down, and so they will retreat themselves. They don't want to mess themselves up.
Yeah, and over here is the Andy Joe. Talk about them trying to play patient. On the other side, the desperation from 40th place, from the bottom of the board. Kid1 and Flixie, they took them out. And now a different type of like medium pressure, Reason and the Siptos. Not completely out of the top 10, nice trap laid down way above the attic. They're sitting in their own little tower. Gonna see if they can find the time to take this fight. Type of characteristic miss from Reason, but he controls all sides. 1v2ing basically. This man hasn't put down a single build. He's all brawn and he's going for it still. Just how much ammunition does he have in these mags? It's crazy, he hasn't stopped. Swapping possibly as well, and oh my goodness. At the very end, running out of steam, running out of gas, Flixie and Kidwo, they survived the onslaught of Reason and the
Hey,
Siptos.
look, Flixie and Kidwo ain't had much success against Joe and Ziandi, but when Reason and the Siptos came through, Flixie decided to put on a show.
That's 2 fights they've won so far now. That's huge. Going straight in with 4 eliminations before this mid-game even starts. This should be way more than good on Surge.
Yeah, 12-point game already. It's real nice.
Moving out of the desert now, we look at the zone, look at everything that's happened early game. Reese should have some recap for us to talk about.
Thank you very much, gents. I do indeed. Aqua and Vino got very lucky. They managed to get the gunner spawn, and so far have now got the 2 launch pads from the vault on top of that. So they are absolutely set up to win.
It's the Reese Hub recap. You love to see it. We talked so much about how much that spawn of the gunner NPC is pivotal to how or who holds the power, right? Whether that be Thomas and Trippin or Aqua and Vino. The gunner NPC spawn in terms of the side of Cavern, or yeah, in terms of the side of Command Cavern. I thought I said Covert Cavern, but in terms of the side it spawns on, it's 50-50, right? So this time going in the favor of Aqua Vino. Joe, with Ziandi down, up against Flixie and Kidwo, we saw they had 4 eliminations, and this was the other 2 that they were able to pick up. Joe did his best to put Flixie down, but Kidwo came through just in the nick of time. And so a team who, I think we actually just jinxed them, because we started this whole game talking about how they just don't lose. They've been dominant, it's been a constant, and then they go down. I'm sorry, Joe and Ziandi, I apologize.
Hey, and I'm sorry for this one in advance, okay? Look at me real quick.
Don't say it, don't say it.
I'm saying it. You know, Zandy might have been joking around, but on the other side of things, Flixie wasn't kidwoing around. There's no way it's a real laugh.
It was a fake laugh. That was awful.
That was good, though.
Tayson, Uruguay. In the heat of battle right now, at the Collider.
I want a second opinion.
You're not getting this.
I'm looking around, there's no one on the stage.
You want to bring Reese back? I'm sure Reese loved your joke. Don't worry, it's fine. Somebody out. If you liked Shire's joke, let him know in the Twitch chat.
I'm going to be called a joke, man.
I hope they do.
Okay, Clown and Rascard are on our screens.
You're seeing the effects, right? Of course, the game started with them being splintered. Refsguard was down. You got 2v1 by Asvi and Siren, but now Clown was able to pick him up. It's why they're so deep in Storm. They've not been able to play out this game normally like a regular duo would. Taking a bit of extra time there. Trippin, Thomas, obviously did not have the vault this time, but how many times do we watch this team when they need to do damage for Surge and they just go and hit a couple headshots like it's nothing, all casual like?
It's the buff of the observer, you know?
It's the observer buff?
Observer buff, yeah. Watching them, they feel the spotlight, they feel the pressure, you know? Feel the damage, get it done, get it down. Right now, a lot of teams up in that same type of situation. Savage might be in a bad situation in terms of getting hit in this fight, but they definitely want to keep aggressing here, definitely want to stay box to box, going for these edits, the big shots. 174 below, 100 trade, and now 74 down. Still, in terms of threshold, in terms of surge, they need to do damage. That edit, stopping Savage and saving him, but he goes right back up. No defensive wall place. Very uncharacteristic, a lack of awareness here, but Benji quickly gets things in tow. He has all the edits too. It's Shizo they're fighting.
Yeah, it's not looking good for these men whatsoever. They need to start doing some damage. To be fair, the teams that they are in and around aren't teams that necessarily have big saying power in the games, and so maybe they can steal their shine. Vanyak, someone who has shined on multiple occasions now. Day 1 and day 2, sitting in 10th place. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I wonder who hit that shot, because that was crazy. He's down to 3 HP. Kami as well, taking some time to heal.
Hydro and Belusi are the ones playing defense here, and we know they're a very sticky duo. They never forget any damage you deal to them, never forget where you are, and when you're close to them, very, very hard to just get rid of. And look at where they are in this fight. No one around right now whatsoever.
Yeah, well, look, Vanyak actually went down to Mustache in the feed. So it was him from a distance that was hitting them shots. And they are now a lot worse for wear. Kami as a solo with not much in the means of materials after spending so much in this fight. Hydro's actually gone down as well, but Lucy's struggling to stay alive. If that is still Malibuka Mustache, these guys are relentless. Like, that would be crazy if it's still them just from the distance. But Hydra now goes down as well, so we got 2 solos here. I'm sure they'll know they're solos, and so the goal is to get in, but Kami, they didn't even let him get a chance.
Belusi does not want to even edit down and go for that fight. Any wall rebuilding, he's going to be the one just completely ratted out. Thomas HD Tripper trying to do their best Mustache type of influence of damage on the server. And we see them land a few shots. Playing essentially a side scroller right now. Not going to find much. Tilted Towers endgame. DKS and Bat Sniper are in the business. Should have a very good zone to play in.
This will be fun. I wonder if we can go back and check, in terms of Thomas and Trippin, the games that they've been, you know, good in, whether it's always been the games where they get the vault or not. I'm sure it's more likely that the vault games have been their best games.
Yeah.
Right? If you're just thinking from the perspective of having pads, but I'd love to actually get the numbers on it. That would be fun. Obviously, this is a game where they don't have the pads from the vault, so they'll have to get creative, look to recycle some pads as well if they can.
And this is the effect of zone kind of closing in towards the center. Loss of pressure on all sides, room for people to move, but basically Sentry Towers set up for everyone to be able to move past and climb. You mess up builds for a second, it costs you HP. Flodax incorrect elevation on placing the wall. Suddy and Cammy, they see it, they smell it, and they take strike.
Yeah, they're sitting in a really nice position up on this hill. We know they like to be in this general area anyway for Surge earlier in the game in first and second zone. They've probably not had to move much at all this game. Sitting comfy, perched up above. Highest team in the lobby, it seems, from an elevation standpoint, or one of them at the least. And plenty of dwindling players all around them, ready to give them opportunities for even more damage, even more shots.
276 leading the lobby. Uguay and Tayson on screen right now. Once this zone locks in, we'll know their game plan and where they need to move. Meanwhile, looks like Noah Riley Vidil are in a very tough situation rotating in. Queasy picks up one of the eliminations. On the other side, Quinberry wraps up another. Shouldn't really be a box fight we're looking at. There's one Soul Red Arrow at the south side, moving and trying to get in, and Tayson, Uguay, they pull a really good portion of this zone. Being able to be here, not only be able to rebuild, but claim so much, their move is to get even more of this entire building, deny access for many of the players down below.
And the big thing is about Tilted being on these buildings, so many opportunities for teams to refarm, right? They can now look to try get their brick up to cap. I don't think there's going to be much metal in that building, but they'll try their best. Oh,
wow.
Hellfire. That was a jump scare and a half, but he kept his composure.
And he's rewarded. Gold Striker. That's what he was up against as well. It was lined up, and he won that fight.
Is he that guy? Is he the guy right now?
We've actually asked that, I think, about him before. And the answer was a definitive maybe. So I'm going to actually retaliate with a possibly at this moment. Top 9, right? This is the game where you can really make a difference. Game number 10, you set yourself up to just be on a trajectory of comeback or hold on. That's the question for them. That's the same question for Stompy and Ju as well. 7th place overall, right behind just, you know, the echelon of top 5. They want to move in.
And they've done so well. I feel like so many times in these games today, we've seen them playing the dead side of the zone, nobody really around them, being in awkward positions to get Surge, but coming through nevertheless, hitting the shots when they need to be hit. And it's all about now converting that into good end games where you're accumulating plenty of points. Same to be said for Cammy and Seti, but Seti, you gotta actually make it to end game, son. You gotta be careful. Can't afford to take too much damage there. Obviously moving down that hill that they were positioned so well on.
The Tripper and Thomas hitting each other instead of the players. Unfortunate.
They're gonna have to move down, right?
They're gonna need damage. I think that was very crucial for them to hit at least one target in general. Thomas is getting a few blows as they go, but yeah, they have to move right now, Levin, and then try to get above this threshold. Thomas is really working it. Up to 113 now. I can hear the tags on it going across, going off, but as we get so small in the zone, you can't find long-range tags as easy anymore. You have to go for those box fights.
And we're in Tilted, right? Look at the lines of sight. There's just not much you can see around. They made a conscious effort to stay higher elevated in case they do pull zone, and then they have to play that 5th zone in that area. Snails, on the other hand, we'll see where it pulls, yeah? We'll see where it pulls. Got a couple seconds. We're situated from it, so we can't see where the zone pulled. Hopefully we'll be able to see in a second, but...
Okay, hold up. Scram Hellfire. Lobby focus.
It pulled on them, so Tayson and Thomas are sitting in a really nice position. They'll have to do damage, though, to stay in the game.
This is just too much. Overwhelming for Hellfire and Scram. The entire lobby understand they're way at max moving in terms of space. Just caught off on the top left side of the zone. Have 1 or 2 teams focused on their position right now, and they've heard 2 shield cracks. This launch pad, they're gonna have to wiggle in the air like they haven't before.
Yeah, I think Hellfire is still scouting around to see if maybe they can recycle, right? They want to save this pad, clearly, but it might just be the better, safer option to try and use it. Maybe even a short pad wrapped around the right side. I think they will look to go high on it. But they need to make sure they don't get sprayed as they make their way in. They've now made that rotation. The pad comes through. They wrap their way around, trying to use the buildings to protect themselves. Their line of sights. Aqua and Vino no longer sitting in first place as we watch them, but certainly on a pathway to doing so.
And all they wanted to do is just skip any portions of the game that are very troublesome for them. So off spawn, things look very good. Everything's fine, and they got the vault. And then just moving from the 4th to 5th zone getting to a half and half, that's too far. Looks like they pulled it this time. They're gonna be fine with the refarm, fine inside this base. Up top, Hen and Queasy trying again, but this time the stakes very different. The top 3 teams, the top 4 teams, all still alive, all veining for heights.
We saw a back-to-back 4 dominant height team yesterday. Aqua and Vino, they won 2 games back-to-back, playing up on height. Will Queasy and Hen look to steal their flow, word for word, bar for bar. Or will they succumb to the pressure now that Tayson and Chapix and Vino and Aqua are in this lobby, are in this game?
I mean, it was their song before, right? No features. This time, the tune, the song, it's very different. Yeah, a lot more active, the BPM higher. We have Tayson and Oogway right across with them. Just saying, we're gonna hold on to this height. Look at this is the telegraphing of this height fight. Marco Clinberry, the same height as Tayson and Oogway as well. They might be able to stay up top here too. Might not be an impact on the leaderboards, but a chance here. What are Tayson and Oogway going to do? They're looking for a pad anywhere, somewhere, using...
Oh, they can't find one, they're searching. They know one's here, but they don't know where it is.
No way.
They're using so many chunk smashes.
No way.
They are looking. I've seen this happen to them early in the season where they really struggle to find one.
Zone's gone.
Yeah, they just need to pad, they need to find one. They finally do find one, but look
3,
at the HP.
2, 1.
It's done. Tayson down. Chapix, will he follow? No.
3,
He's able to
2,
in, maybe.
1.
Down. They spent way too long searching for a recycled pad. It happened to them so many times earlier in the season. That was one of their biggest hiccups at this stage in the game. But that trip up will be everything Aqua and Vino were hoping for. They are in the zone, they're looking more comfy, and they're using a pad now, a pad that Tayson and Oogway so hoped they could have had. And this is what they wanted to do with it, take height. But Aqua and Vino are fighting for it now.
Aqua did this once before, took a head immediately. This time is his position that he gains. Afterwards, looking for Queasy's head first. He doesn't find it, sees the body of Head for a split second, and gets the big shot right on his back. And now they have the essence of control slightly, and a knock to Hen down. Can't hold on to the pressure that Aqua and Vino put down.
A repeat of what we saw yesterday. Queasy having to play as a solo. Nebs hitting big shots onto Ju. Stompy now will be a solo, but the battle for height is what everybody had their eyes on. Stompy now trying to get the revenge. He doesn't want to allow Ju to go down without a fight. But the chunk splashes are so much more valuable. They give him time, they give him hope in this game.
Midground not wanting to lose control either. Down below is a river. It's gonna be tricky to cross that without the proper boots, without your feet ready to go. Meanwhile, Rabbit going down. Mustache still active in this game, looking for many shots. The 3rd place team and the 4th place team in the similar position inside that midground. Mustache and Malabuka, they look so much better off.
Boots on the ground and the troops are there with him. Mustache looking in the backside of the zone. He knows where the opportunities for eliminations are. It's players like Stompy just up above their layer. He needs to protect himself, needs to make sure these are his builds, these are his edits, because he's struggling when it comes to HP, and he's going to continue to struggle with the likes of those guys still in this lobby. Aqua though, no materials. This is a desperate elimination, and Asby might have just gifted them what they needed to win this game. That elimination's huge. Still lackluster in that regard, but the zone pulling back will give them the extra time needed.
They catch a breath, and so does the entire lobby. A moment to think what to do next. It's going right past everyone's builds perfectly. Marco, the only casualty for this one. Only one shot in the air, one sound wave from Floki. Silence for the rest. Vico looking next. Can't find much for now, but a tree in the way to give him a bit more loot to work with in terms of Matt, Seti, and Cammy. Drop down, Floki and Clement, take him out.
They wiped those guys clean. Malabuka Mustache will be licking their lips at that opportunity now. They might just be the last dominant mid-ground team in this game. Can they continue, though, to wipe teams out? 5 builds, they're lacking. Looking similar very much to Cammy and Seti were, but they need to hit bigger shots, bigger firepower, and Stompy gives them that opportunity. Mustache is feeling it. Not got as many eliminations as he did yesterday, but still has that firepower. Vino and Aqua might just have to force them down to low, where they will collide with the Frenchies. Cloaking Clement, Siren as a solo. He doesn't have his teammate, but does he have the shots? Jackson so low, lurking around. All these teams again just posting towards each other. Eventually, Jackson runs into Cloaking Clement, and Mustache and Malabuka look like they'll have to do the same eventually. But these guys have total control here, and materials left as well.
It'll be a long drag with a minute and 30 still left in the tank. Floki takes out Jackson, but it takes a huge toll on his HP bar. Malibuka now moving, taken down. Aqua and Vino, they see an inch, they grab a mile. Vico also gone. Their car running on fumes for the moment, but no, it's refueled. 225 off the harpoon. The mats go straight towards high ground. Stolen. It's a heist from what low ground deserved. Floki and Clement have nothing left. No riches, no wealth for the moment. Everything, the power in Aqua's control. Another VR for this duo. They've taken it so far, but Vino's now affected. Chuck splashes have to come in. Aqua, the only person with max HP.
Oh,
Vino taken down. Aqua looking for the big shot. No mats. 180. The final one. Dodges Floki. One more shout to make. One more voice heard, but Aqua's denied access into the zone. He's looking for it. The mantle. Refresh not loaded. He has no shots in the shotgun. One more put in. Looking for it. Has no mats to Floki. He says hello, but then Floki says goodbye, and Aqua is taken down.
Aqua and Vino were so close to another victory royale, but it just didn't come through at the end. Vino fell too early. Aqua didn't have the materials to stay in the game, and in the end, it was the Frenchies. From out of nowhere, it seemed, they dominated the low ground and they closed out the fight. Floki, nerves of steel, using those floppers in the final moments and connecting with a big shot.